brethren. Right? This is Watchman on the Walls of Zion. I come to you with a message, right, entitled, Has the Book of Revelations Been Unlocked? The Elijah from Malachi 4, the Remnant Church. Right, when I go through this presentation, this is a PowerPoint. You might be able to see all the words, but I'll write it for you. I'll read it for you, sorry. And I hope that you stay tuned, you will be blessed, and your eyes will be open to some of these truths that the Bible will unfold for us. So that's the question. Has the book of Revelations been unlocked? Many people believe that, that Revelations is a scary book. And some people even stay clear of it. But also, people believe that it's a book or things that is to take place either that already take place or way in the future. But that's the thing. As we get into it, we will see that some of these things have happened already. Because when you look at Revelation chapter 1 to possibly Revelation 13, part of 13, you see that a lot of these things has been unfolded already. And some things are still to come. And even in some things we can make present application to what's happening now. So as we go into it, let's see. Let's look at Revelation 2, 3 and 6, the 7 seals and 7 churches. Now first we have to understand that in the first centuries, because this will explain different churches and the 6th seal, right? At that time, brethren, you will understand that it had, different eras or different phases, right, of the churches at that time. It had things that took place at that time. So we will get into it, right? But first I'll explain to you, each church. So we see the church of Ephesus. When you look at Revelation chapter 2, the first church that is mentioned is the church of Ephesus, right? And it says Ephesus was from the time of Christ to AD 100. Right? Ephesus means desirable. It means this gospel started to be delivered around the world. Right? Remember in the apostles' time, in Peter and their time, the disciples' time. So from the apostles and Christ's time to AD 100, that this church was in progress. Right? And you can find that in Revelation 2, 1 to 7. This then coincides with Revelation 6, the 6th seal. Revelation 6, 1 and 2. The white horse. A horse in Bible prophecy, or in Bible also means a church. Right? So, Revelation 6, 1 and 2 talks about a white horse. This church was a pure church. For white represent purity. It went on with conquering power in the 1st century. So, the message, remember Christ told the disciples that this gospel shall be preached unto all nations for a witness, and then shall the end come. So they went on preaching the gospel after receiving that commission from Christ. Right? So they went on. Right? So it was a pure church. They stood for truth and righteousness. They uphold God's law, His 10 Commandments. Nobody say that they were not persecuted. It had some, the disciples were killed and stuff like that at a certain time. But it had no apostasy at that time. The church was pure. Then we go on to the second church, Church of Smyrna. It means myrrh or perfume. This describes the church to conversion, to Constantine's conversion. Remember in AD 321, Constantine, he so-called claimed to be a Christian, convert to Christianity. When the emperor became Christian and pagan persecution largely ceased. Right, so he claimed to be a part of the church, but he didn't denounce paganism or the things of the world. Right, so this is a form of godliness that came into the church, and people rejoiced, people were happy, but it wasn't genuine. Right, and that was just a disguise, and even things took place further on. A lot of apostasy take place in the church. Right? At that time, God's people, they stood for truth, and they were persecuted. A lot of them was persecuted. Some were put to death for standing for Christ. But brethren, when Constantine converted to so-called Christianity, he wasn't genuine. And it had seemed at that point that, hey, things would have been okay. But brethren, that is not so. For he was just a disguise, a veil that came into the church. And then many corruptions had to take place, like for instance, the pagan practices that was practiced at that time entered the church. And brethren, these people, these Christians, they were rejoicing that they were persecuted, because every time they were persecuted, every time someone died for Christ, a lot more would have given their life to Christ through their testimony, through their blood that was shed, that was spilled, and more entered the church. So you find that Satan didn't get his way. He didn't have his way. And because he didn't have his way, he said, alright, what he couldn't accomplish by force, he sought to get people like Constantine and these people, these pagans, to enter the church, to have a form of godliness but denying the very presence. Right? So what happened is, these people rejoiced that they were persecuted for Christ. But when paganism entered the church, imagine they preferred to be persecuted than allowing these apostasies. Because these guys, paganism, worship of idols and all these false gods. But when Constantine converted to Christianity and paganism entered the church, the gods that they worship, they just basically changed it to statues of Mary and of Jesus and even Peter, the saints. Right? The Catholic Church even believes that Peter was the first pope. Peter was never a pope. Right? And they use their theory by saying, when Christ told the disciples, who on this rock I shall build my church. They thought it was Peter. But Peter himself said Christ is the rock, is the true rock, the true cornerstone. So it never had Pope. And God never sanctioned that any man would be given authority on the face of the earth. So we know that Catholicism, 70%, if you do your research on true history, 70% of their doctrine is false doctrine. Right? So paganism entered, the worship of idols was entered, and that is why the Catholic Church, they tampered with God's 10 Commandments, because their practices went against the Bible. So what they did, they stripped off commandment number 2. And in stripping off commandment number 2, which abhors the practice of idolatry, idol worship, right? Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image of any likeness of anything that is above the earth, but up in heaven or on the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. So remove commandment number 3. Number 2. So commandment number 3. Right? It became number 2. And then God's commandment number 4. Remember the Sabbath day, became commandment number 3. So brethren, God is not mocked. And do not be fooled. Right? And what they did, in order to make up the 10, because it's 10 commandments, they stripped commandment number 10 into 2. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's possession, all these things, they strip it into 2. So there is still 10 in the Catholic Church, but they have think to change time and laws. They have tampered with God's law. So as we go on, it says here, Smyrna means myrrh and perfume. This describes the churches to conversion of Constantine. When the emperor became Christian and pagan persecution largely ceased. Right? You can get this in Revelation 2, 8-11. This coincides with the red horse. Right? And this era, this phase took place from 100 AD to 323 AD. Corruption was creeping in and persecution resulted, as I mentioned. Right? Revelation 6 verse 3 talks about the second horse, which was the red horse, which means persecution. Red means persecution. So let's go on to Pergamos. Pergamos, this church was from 323 AD to 538. It means citadel or Acropolis, portraying the condition of the church from the time of Constantine to the beginning of the 1260 years. Right? We will get to that. 1260 years, right, of papal persecution. From 538 to 1798 was the 1260 years, but we will get to that later on. Revelation 2, 12 to 17. This coincides with the black horse in Revelation 6, verse 5 and 6. Apostasy was rampant. It was spiritual darkness. Right, so as I said, paganism entered the church, spiritual darkness. Right? And the church was in deep apostasy at that time. Now let's go to Thyatira. Thyatira means is the fourth phase of the churches. Thyatira means contrition or sweet savor of labor. 538 to 1798, as I mentioned, in 1260 years, it illustrates the suffering of God's true people during 1260 years of papal supremacy. This coincides with the pale horse. Right? Pale means death. Right? And as I said, each church are represented by 4 horses. First horse, white, represents purity. Red represents persecution. Black represents apostasy and spiritual darkness. And pale represents spiritual death or declension in spiritual things. Right? So it says here, this coincides with the pale horse. This phase took place from 538 to 1517. Right? Revelation, you find this in also Revelation 6, 7, and 8. Time of the deadly persecutions, the people of God, until the dawn of the Reformation, put a check on its work of death. Right? This was when Martin Luther rekindled the Reformation movement. Martin Luther, at that time, the Great Reform, from 1517 to 1717, right? On November 1st. So what happened with Martin Luther? You see, Martin Luther, if you know your history, Martin Luther nailed the 95 theses on the church door, the Catholics. Right? Martin Luther was a Catholic. But he started to see the apostasy and the sins that his church was into. Right? One of it was indulgences. Right? One of it was praying, confessing your sins to a priest. When God he doesn't condone that. He denounces those practices in the Bible. Right? And all these foolishness, right? Indulgences, more or less you're paying money, for your sins to be pardoned, your past sins and your future sins, right? And there's no such thing. We know that we can go to Christ freely and we can confess our sins. The Bible says if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So no man can forgive your sin, neither my sin, but Christ. Right? So, as we go on, and also what I want to make mention of, when the Reformation was rekindled, brethren, we have to take note of the Jesuits. For this Pope Francis is a Jesuit. And brethren, the Jesuits are demonic people. If you look at the church that is from the Society of Jesus, another name for them is Jesuits. And they were raised up. Their founder is Ignatius Loyola. And they were raised up to counteract the Reformation. Right? So Martin Luther, they rekindled the Reformation. But the Catholic Church, right, this clique, this group called the Jesuits, they decided to counteract the Reformation movement. Why? Because the Reformation movement was making way through that spiritual darkness of upholding Christ and His word. Right? And, it was growing rapidly. So they decided that in order to stop that again, the Jesuits was raised up to counteract. Do some more research on the Jesuits. This Pope is a Jesuit, and there's a reason why I'm saying that. I probably will get to that later on. Right, so let us skip forward now. Let's look at some other things that took place. On November the 1st, 1755, there was the great earthquake in Lisbon. Right, Lisbon, Portugal. That took had a great dark day. Also on that day, the moon turned to blood. Then on November 13th, right, 1833, the stars fell from heaven. This is the sixth seal. Right? This is the sixth seal. The things that took place in the sixth seal. Hold on a sec. Right? Before we get to the sixth seal, let's look at the fifth seal. Revelation 6 from verse 9. And it says, and when he had opened the fifth seal, right, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain. What we talking about? The dark ages here. There was over 500 million people that was killed. What's that? Not for true. The altar that the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they had. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they would should be fulfilled. And I beheld, let's open the sixth seal now, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. I now mention the great earthquake. Let me give you a picture of that. Right, this is just a picture of the great earthquake. Right, that's on the left. Right, this is the destruction that took place in Lisbon. I think about 7,000 people died. 7,000 people died. As you see on the left there. Right? That's the Great Lisbon earthquake. Right, so we see that the sixth seal, majority of it has been, it happened in history already. Right? And it says, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So here we see the moon became as blood. Right, as you see here on the right, the moon became as blood. Right? And the sun, as it says, became black as sackcloth of hair. So let's look at the dark day. You see here on the left, the dark day. Search it up, it's all in history. Search up, as I mentioned. You have November the 1st, 1755. There was the great earthquake, the Great Lisbon. Search it up. That took place. Also May 19, 1780. We had the Great Dark Day. May 19, 1780. And then also on the same day, the moon turned to blood. Then on November 13th, 1833, a good bit of years after. Right? We had the stars fall from heaven. And this is a picture of it. On the right hand, the stars fell from heaven. Okay? So brethren, some of these things have taken place already. Because it did mention, and the stars of heaven fell, this is verse 13, unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her timely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll, when it rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Right? So, as we see here, the last three churches, Revelation 3. There's the church of Sardis. And this means that which remains. It symbolizes the people of God remaining as a result of the Reformation after the Dark Ages. Right? As a result, the Dark Ages take place 538 to 1798. So this is what the people that remained. This also began the time of the end. The time of the end began in 1798. Right? You get that in Revelation 3, 1 to 6. See also Daniel chapter 12, the time of the end. As the Bible mentioned, that in the time of the end, because if you really look up on the book Daniel, whatever the angel showed him, majority of the things he said, seal up this book until the time of the end. And at the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Right? I think that's either Daniel 12 or 11. And that just means that the book of Daniel and Revelation was uncoded, it was unlocked at the time of the end. Knowledge was increased, understanding of the book of Daniel and Revelation was gained. And in the 1900s, right, a lot of people was paying special attention to the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel. And as Proverbs 4:18 says, but the path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. So as they give time for the study of the book of Daniel and Revelation, the Holy Spirit guided, and knowledge was increased. Understanding of these two books was gained, and the book of Revelation was unlocked. Right? And so as we see here, the verses that make mention of the 1260 years, 1260 days, a day for a year, right? Ezekiel 4:6 and Numbers 14:34. 3.5 years and the 42-month period is as follows. Right? So all symbolize the 1260. But we will pick up from here. We will pick up from here very soon.